Hey, I'm Marty Schupak. Today we're going over the swing of George Brett, great hitter for the Kansas City Royals from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. I think he won a batting title in 3 separate decades. I could be wrong about that. Now, originally I wasn't going to really go into the analysis of the swing, but I got into it more and more. My number one reason, and really this is for you youth coaches, is to show you one technique, and Charlie Lau was the batting instructor, that he always advised his hitters to rest the bat on the shoulder. It's incredibly important in youth sports. I noticed over the years, I coached 30 years, and I would tell my players, rest the bat on the shoulder. I try to copy the Charlie Lau technique, and I would tell them, don't start to get ready to lift it off your shoulder till the pitcher starts his windup. And the reason I got into that, I remembered again, I coached kids 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13. I've coached kids all the way up to high school, but the younger kids, I've seen kids in their stance holding the bat off to their shoulders, ready to hit when the pitcher is tying his cleats, bending down on one knee. And I would tell the team, he's not going to pitch the ball from one knee. Relax when you're up there, okay? Relax with the bat, take a deep breath. And when he starts his windup, get into your stance ready to hit. Now, you don't have to be like George Brett. He actually, and I'll show you, I try to do this on what I call the live side. This is number 1, this is number 2. He has it on the shoulder, but he keeps it there, which we're going to see later on. And I like to do 2 at a time to contrast it. Now, before I go on, I want to give you coaches in youth baseball a quick hint. Coaching over the years, usually we had like 12 players on the team, 9 positions. I'd read the lineup. And of course, the players whose name was number 9 in the batting order, he'd feel terrible. I came up with a policy that whoever bats 9th plays the whole game. And what you're doing is you're turning a negative into a positive. It's a great technique. When you read the batting order, when the kid hears his name called in baseball or softball, you're going to turn a jeer into a cheer. So keep that in mind. Okay, let's move this guy away. This is number 1. Move him away, and let's move number 2 up. I like the contrast. Let's move number 3 here. Okay. The one negative about showing you these pictures is that I wish the picture included home plate so you have an idea. But you see, Brett still has the bat rested on the shoulder, okay? And he's starting to his front foot to lift it up to stride, okay? Keep that in mind. All right, let's go to number 4 so we could contrast. And by the way, after this, stay on. I'm going to show one of my videos, a drill on bunting. It's a quick 40-second video. All right, he's starting his stride. Again, he's stepping forward. And if you look, and I wish I had pointed out, and let me just bring it up again on number 1. His feet are a little more than shoulder length apart. And most coaches are taught, teach your players shoulder length apart. It shouldn't be in concrete, but keep that in mind. George Brett's, if you look at his legs, they're a little wider than shoulder length apart. Okay, so this is 3. This is number 4 as he finishes his stride. Okay, let's get rid of this. And let's look for number 5. I think we're 1 ahead. Nope, this is number 5. And he kept the bat on his shoulder and he rolled it off as he started to swing. I don't advise young people to do that. But if you look, the hands are still in front of the barrel of the bat. Look at his back leg. He's just twisting. He's not squishing the bug. And let's go to number 6. Okay, we'll contrast it. And let me move this up a little bit here, like this. At this point, he's making contact. You can barely see it with the ball. He kept his hands all the way back up to this point, and he's making contact with the ball. And look at his back leg, like this. Okay, and he's, again, the front leg is kind of straight. And it's the only time where the barrel starts to go in front of the hands. He was great at keeping his hands back. All right, let's go to the next one. Again, you could find a lot of this stuff. And I know you coaches, especially new coaches and parents, there's no magic bullet. But if you research things yourself, you could learn a lot on the internet too. All right? I mean, look. I know a lot of you parents, you're going to take your kids to the local batting cage. You're going to pay a minor league player, between $75 and $125 an hour for lessons. I have nothing against that at all. In fact, I'm good friends with a lot of these instructors. I think they play a good role. But I'm also against spending excess money that you really can't afford. So keep that in mind. This is the last shot. And he swings, and you can barely see it. He has a top hand release over here, okay? But George Brett is one of the best hitters to ever play the game. Again, my reason for showing this, and I urge you coaches, especially you young coaches, let me get that number 1 up again, is I truly believe this is a great technique. Resting the bat on the shoulder. Charlie Lau, the instructor, he liked the bat to be parallel to the ground. It doesn't have to be exact. And when the pitcher starts his windup, and then the player gets into his hitting stance. All right. Remember this: that a relaxed hitter is a dangerous hitter. You want to do everything you can to keep the hitter relaxed. You see a lot of different things players do, swinging the bats, taking a deep breath. I remember an older player, Nomar Garcia-Parra, used to have a routine adjusting his batting gloves. Everyone goes through the same thing. And don't just go by what you see on TV. You young players, teach your young players to get into their habit. And it's like a player in basketball shooting foul shots. You want the players to, especially young, to develop the stance that is most comfortable, most relaxing, and you want them to do the same thing every time they're in there. Another little tip that I've done in my 30 years, I used to drop players in the order if they were in a slump, but I had decided, like, one year I think it was my cleanup hitter was in a slump. I actually, instead of dropping him to like 6th or 7th, I moved him up to the leadoff hitter. And it worked out great. Now, this isn't going to work every time, but I urge you, try to think outside the box. And with that, just stay with us, because we're going to go right to the videotape. Hey, listen, if you can, this is Schupak Sports, and I'm Marty Schupak. We have 50,000 video clips coming. Please subscribe. Give me a thumbs up if you can. And I'm going to try to evaluate another hitter in the next few days. Stay tuned. We're going to go right to the videotape of this bunting technique that I do in batting practice. I'm a big proponent of bunting. So let's go right to the videotape.
As mentioned earlier, bunting is a very big part of baseball, and you can teach players how to bunt at a very young age. We begin each batting practice with a little bunting drill. We give each player 3 swings. But before swinging away, each player gets 2 bunt attempts. We set up 3 cones on the third baseline. If the ball is bunted between the middle and left cones, a player gets 2 extra swings. If the ball is bunted between the middle cone and the right cone, a player gets 1 extra swing. With the 3 swings and some good bunts, a player can get up to 7 swings. This drill is particularly effective in getting players to work harder to perfect their bunting.